Sir, please, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Sir, please, good afternoon. Sir, please, I had internet issues, so I didn't get any of what you said.
Well, I'm sure you'd reach us, so don't worry. Okay, what we are discussing is business environment or business and society, and we see the society to be the environment where business is established, right? Or all the
Yes,
factors
sir.
and conditions that affect a business. So I gave a classical example that if you take yourself as a business, you find yourself in a family, number one. You find yourself in a community where you have a church, you have schools, you have markets, you have a government. Okay. So all these
Yes,
factors or
sir.
all these conditions in a way impact your life, right? So if we are looking at a business and its environment or society, then we are referring to all the factors that has the potential of affecting the business in its performance and decision making. So we saw that we have two environment or factors or conditions a business would have to look at, the internal and external. So the internal are those that the business has control over and can manipulate or can influence for their own good. But the external factors are those that the business cannot manipulate or do not have control over. So we gave examples, for instance, regarding the internal environment. We have something like the human resource or the employees, the workers of the business. The business has control over its workers. It can manipulate the workers, influence them to reach their goal. Now, one factor in the external, for instance, is government policy. The business cannot manipulate the government's policy, or the business cannot control the policies that will be made by the government. If the government says businesses are to pay 20% tax, corporate tax, the business has no control over that. They would have to. But if a business say has 100 employees and feels that it is making losses, it can lay off some of the workers, right? So the internal factors are more controllable by the business, but the external factors are not. So I think you
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Good. I think Prof. Portia, you had a question because I heard you giving some comment.
Yes. Sir, please, I wanted to say that I don't understand what you are teaching.
Okay, Prof. Portia, when you say you don't understand what I'm teaching, let me help you understand what I'm teaching. So what I'm looking at or what we are discussing is business environment or business and its society, right? So you
Yes.
appreciate that every business is established or is set up in a community or in a society. MTN
Yes.
Ghana is set up in Ghana. They have branches in Accra and all the other towns, right? So MTN appreciates that, yes, I'm established in a community where I have the government, right? I have customers, I have workers I'm working with. Okay, I have my own organizational structure. So all these things that I'm talking about would affect how MTN Ghana is going to survive or not. Okay, so these are what we refer to as the business environment. So the business environment is all the factors and conditions that affect a business. Okay?
Yes, please.
Yes. But then we want to appreciate that some of the factors are within the business itself. Okay, they are within the business itself. And some of the factors too are outside the business. Okay, so well, let me give more details about some of the internal environment, and then maybe you appreciate that as well. So, for example, when we look at the management style and leadership style of the business, this is a factor of the business that the business can control. A business has control over how it manages or leads its workers, right? If we look at the human resource, like the employees or the skills and the competencies of employees, every business can manipulate its employees, right? And I give you an example. If we have 100 employees and we feel that no, 100 is too much for us, we can downsize and get some of them off. If an employee is not performing, we can give the person training for the person to become better. So in a way, we can influence this factor, this human resource factor. And so that makes it part of our internal environment. If we look at the financial resources, like the assets we have, building, the cars, furniture and fittings, all these are things that the business can control. If we have one vehicle and we feel that, oh, the business is expanding, we need 2, we need 4, the business can quickly get the vehicles, right? So we have control over that. Now, when you talk of the external comprises all the other factors and conditions the business does not have control over. And some of them, I think you have mentioned earlier, or some of your colleagues have mentioned earlier, include political and legal framework of the community. Okay, the politics and the legal environment of that community. For example, I'm not sure MTN Ghana can control how we choose our president in this country. But you are aware that if we choose a president and the president makes any policy, it would affect MTN. Example, we vote for, say, this government, and then this government can say all communication network businesses should pay 100% tax on their profit. MTN does not have control over how the government was selected, but this government is making a policy that is affecting it. Okay, so you appreciate that this particular factor or condition, which is the political and legal framework of the community, is affecting the business, but the business has no control over it, right? The other one is the social and cultural environment, which comprises of the demographics of the people, okay, where the business is established. So in Ghana, we have our own beliefs and taste for certain things. If you come and set up any business here and you don't consider that belief and taste we have, you might find yourself wanting. Okay. And you can't control the taste of people as a business, right? So these conditions that the business cannot control form part of the external environment of the business. Let me give you another example. I set up my typing business and I use the old typewriter. All of a sudden, they say that we now have a laptop. A new technology has come, right? And that technology is going to affect my business because people will now shift from the old typewriter to the laptops and the tablets because it's more easier to type on those gadgets than the old typewriter. So you see that a technological advancement or improvement is affecting my business. And the question is, can I control that? No, I can't. I don't determine what technology should be brought or should not be brought, right? So this is the idea that we are looking at. Competitors. Your competitors are in your external environment. You can't control your competitors. You can set up your business in Accra. Other people will come and set up the same business in Accra. You can't control that. Okay, great. So I believe it's okay now to my professors. If there are further confusions, please bring them on board so that we look at more examples and scenarios for you to understand. Please, any other question or confusion? Prof. Akoli, Augustine, and Prof. Portia, are you okay now?
Yes, sir.
Prof. Portia, let me hear from you. Prof. Portia, are you there? Okay. So now let's move on to the SWOT analysis, right? The SWOT analysis. Now that we appreciate the internal and external environment, let's look at the SWOT analysis. Now, this analysis was, introduced or was engineered by a certain serious researcher and business consultant. And well, I'll just give you his name for the purposes of, knowledge gaining. So his name is Albert Humphrey. Albert Humphrey. So let me type the name on the screen. Albert Humphrey. So this man is an American. He's from America, and he was a business consultant, right, and a researcher as well. So he sat down he worked with a lot of business organizations, all in an attempt to help them to become successful. And so in doing so, he came out with this SWOT analysis tool, right? And as we've indicated, the S represents strength. The W represents weakness. And then the O, opportunities. And finally, the T is for threats. Now, like I indicated to you, we use the S and W for the internal environment, and we use the O and T for the external environment, right? Now, initially, the name was not SWOT. The name was SOFT, but we just ended there. SOFT, S-O-F-T. The S was satisfaction or internal strength. O was opportunity. The F was fault. So the F changed into weaknesses, and then the T remained threats. So now let's look at how you can do the SWOT analysis, because as part of your examination, you may be asked to use the SWOT analysis to, determine certain things about a particular business. So let's focus on how you use the SWOT analysis. Professors, if you have any question or you are confused, please talk to me. I don't want to confuse you. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So if you are confused at any point, great. Now, if you want to do the SWOT analysis, okay, the S and T, or the S and W, I should say, is mainly for the internal environment. So let's go there so that you appreciate. So like I indicated, the first two, the S and W, are used to analyze the internal environment of a business. So for example, the strengths are the factors, the internal factors that give an organization a competitive advantage over others. This could include resources, capabilities, expertise, brand reputation, unique product or service, efficient processes, etc. It can be applied to identify an inherent strength of a business, assess what advantage a business has over competitors in the market, and consider the resources and capabilities that gives a business competitive edge. Professors, the long talk here simply means that if you are looking at the strength of a business, you are looking out for the unique factor or condition that puts the business above its competitors. But these factors are more fixated on the resources, the expertise, the brand, okay, even management style and leadership style. So let me give you an example. You know, there are a lot of companies in Ghana that give loans, right? But we have some companies, immediately you apply, within 1 hour, you can get the loan. There are some companies too, it will take 2 weeks. Others will even take months. So you can identify that these businesses have a unique internal process of getting people who apply for loans to have the money. One is doing 1 hour, one is doing 2 weeks, one is doing 3 months. And dear professors, if I ask you which of these businesses would you patronize, I think you would say the obvious choice would be the one that can provide the loan within 1 hour. All other things being equal. Okay, so you can see that uniqueness of that business would help it thrive because more people would want the money quicker than what the others can offer. Okay. The weaknesses, on the other hand, okay, so we are looking at the strength, we are looking at the weaknesses. The weaknesses, on the other hand, are those factors, okay, that put an organization at a disadvantage compared to its competitors. So weaknesses might include outdated technology, lack of skilled personnel, high employee turnover. High employee turnover means that workers come in today, the next moment they are leaving, right? Due to a lot of factors. Maybe the salary is not good, or maybe the management is too harsh, etc. Okay. Now, or poor financial management or inefficient production processes. So, professors, you begin to appreciate that the weakness will look at all the negative conditions or factors that is making the business suffer. And then the strength will look at the positives. But both the strength and weaknesses are focused on internal factors. Let me give you an example, even for yourself. Maybe one of your strengths is that you can read 20 pages in 1 minute, right? So you see that is a positive factor that will put you above your fellow colleagues or students, because maybe they will use 1 hour to read the 20 pages, but you use 1 minute. But there could also be the side where maybe you sleep too much, and that will be your weakness. Okay, so this strength and weaknesses is looking at the positives and then the negatives. The positive factors are the strength, and the negative ones are the weaknesses. So if you are given a case study about a business, you should be able to identify the strength of the business and the weaknesses of the business. Please, any question? Let me pause here since I'm doing a lot of talking. Okay, Josephine, go ahead.
Sir, please, how will you be able to identify the strengths and the weaknesses?
Okay, let me make it very simple for you, Prof. Josephine. Compare, I don't want to use a school, but okay, compare MTN Ghana to Airtel Tigo. Can you be able to tell the strengths MTN has and compared to Airtel Tigo, if you can do that for me.
Yes.
So tell me about it. What are some of the strengths you can identify with MTN?
The MTN is fast, and then they don't deduct your data anyhow. Maybe in some cases they do, but not mostly.
Okay, great. Any other professors, any other strength you know with? It could be any other business, right? It could be any other business. But I just want you to share one unique strength you can identify with a business. And I think Prof. Josephine hits the nail on it here. When we take MTN is able to, give fast internet connectivity, okay, to customers. And because of that, more people are shifting to MTN compared to Airtel Tigo. So you see that the good services or the quality service they are providing, okay, is helping the business to flourish. Hence, we can identify that as a strength of MTN. So the unique service or product they are offering is their strength. And that is what puts them above their competitors. Okay. It could be the price of the product. I'm sure you buy from a company that has a lower price than the other, all other things being equal. Okay. So that is how you're able to identify the strength of a business. You look at the things the business is doing that puts them above their competitors or has the potential to make the business flourish or successful. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Great. I wanted to give another example, but I don't know which one to use. Okay. Between Malcolm and ShopRite, which of them would you prefer? And Malcolm and ShopRite, right? Which of them would you prefer? And can you compare these two and identify a unique strength of one? Prof. Veronica, I haven't heard from you today. Okay, I think Josephine will hold on for me. Prof. Veronica, I want to hear from you, Prof. Prof. Nee, I can see you, so think about it. I'm sure you. Okay, Prof. Paddy is also there. These two stores I mentioned, ShopRite and then Malcolm, I think you patronize them. Okay, let me use another example. Why did you choose your current school over other schools? And this one, I wish I can get answers from each and every one of you. So let me start. Prof. Zoe, what made you choose your current school? Prof. Zoe, I would want everybody to tell me the reason. And please, let's be snappy about it because of our time. Prof. Zoe, is she there? What made you choose your current school? I think Zoe doesn't want to share. Well, let me go to Prof. Paddy. Prof. Paddy, Ezekiel, what unique thing did you see about your school that made you go for it? Prof. Paddy, we can't hear you. If any of you heard him, you can repeat what he said. Yes, we can hear you now. So, what made you choose your school?
Because I know it's more popular than
Okay, so it's because of their popularity, right? Yeah, the school was popular in this country. Great popularity. And I think this popularity comes because of how the school brands itself, number one, okay, and maybe some of the unique teaching and learning they do there. Great. Um, Prof. Prof. Veronica, I wanted to know why you chose your current school. Prof. Ni Ayibonte, why did you choose St. Augustine's College? Why? Okay, so Vero says her microphone is not working. Yeah. Yeah, Ni, let's hear you.
Say,
Yeah.
I chose St. Augustine because of the academics and networking.
Okay, because of the academics and networking. Great. So you see, each and every one of you here did a SWOT analysis of the schools before you chose them. And so you identify some of the strengths, and some of the strengths were the internal factors that put the school above other schools. So for example, like he said, the academic excellence, right? And this is something the school can manipulate, because if the school can excel, the school can do that by ensuring that teachers are teaching well, they do more classes, more examination, etc. Right? Get to make sure that students are disciplined, they learn, they attend preps, etc. So you see, these internal factors are putting the school above other schools. And so you saw it as a strength, and that influenced you to make that choice. So if you are looking at the strength of a business, you are actually looking at the positive things the business is doing that is putting them above its competitors. Okay. Of course, there are some weaknesses as well. Maybe most of you didn't do that analysis of the weakness, right? Okay. So I think professors are now beginning to appreciate the conversation. Now let's go to the O and T, which is the opportunity and threats. Opportunity and threats, which speaks more about the external environment. So let's look at the opportunities. The opportunities are the factors that could benefit an organization if utilized properly. So those factors a business can tap into and utilize. So for example, I'm in Ghana and then I see that, I want to do a cold store. Ideally, it will be better for me to get closer to where there is a sea, right? So between Cape Coast and Northern Region, where would it be most appropriate to have a cold store? The obvious answer will be Cape Coast, because it is closer to the source of fish, right? So you see that the external environment, right? The community makeup or the demographics of that community provides an opportunity for a business to tap into. If you go to a community where there are more children, then you begin to, okay, there's an opportunity here I can tap into, right? Which is maybe I have to deal in Pampers or children clothing. So you see, that external factor is giving the business an opportunity to tap into. Now, if you go to Accra, most of the people there love the gakenke, right? So you see, the taste of the people, which you have no control over, will give you an opportunity. So if you go there and you do gakenke and it's better, you get more customers, because the taste of the people there is tuned to gakenke. If you go and do Fante Fante or Fanti Kenke, I don't know if majority of you know this Fante Fante I'm talking about, or the Fanti Kenke. You might not, yes, you might not get the market, because the taste of the people is different. You go to a Muslim community, you know that Muslims don't joke with their what do you call it? Their porridge and kose and masa and TZ. Then you go and pound what do you call it? You go and pound fufu in a Muslim community. You eat your own fufu. So you see that the taste and preference, the beliefs of the people, right, provides an opportunity for the business to tap into. Again, I'm using the Muslim community again because you know they have a lot of beliefs and values I can relate to. They don't like wearing this mini skirt and short trousers and that. And then you are a company and you go and set up in such a community. You know that you are not going to flourish, right? So the opportunities are the factors that the business can utilize and tap into for their advantage. Okay, great. Then the threats. The threats are the factors that negatively affect the business. Okay. It could come from competitors. It could come from economic downturns. It could come from legal and regulatory changes. And let me give an example to this one. You know, because most of the banks were shut down because there was a legal requirement that they should increase the minimum deposit they have with the central bank, Bank of Ghana. And a lot of banks could not pay that or could not make up for that minimum deposit. So they had to shut down. Okay, so that rule or that legal requirement that came affected the business. So it posed a threat to the business. COVID-19 was a threat to most businesses, not only in this country or Africa, but in the whole world. Most businesses had to shut down because of this, pandemic, right? So those external factors that affect the business negatively are the threats that we look at in our SWOT analysis in the external environment. Professors, do we now appreciate what we are discussing?
Yes.
Great. Now, to make you appreciate this, in an exams, you could be given a case of a business and how it operates in its society, and you'll be asked to identify the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats this business would have in the environment, right? And I think we will quickly do one of that in our next session. We'll take a case study, we'll read it, and then we'll begin to appreciate the strengths, the weaknesses, the threats, and opportunities that we can determine for the particular business. Okay, so let me pause for questions. Question time, professors. We have 4 minutes to end this session, and then we'll finalize the class in the next session. Okay, someone typed in the chat. Does the SWOT affect every business? Yes, it affects every business. Every business. Like the way you as an individual, right? You have to look at your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Businesses also have these things hitting them left, right, center. Okay, so it affects every business. Whether it is a profit-making business or not, it would affect you. Okay, thank you for that question, Proper Calling. Please, any other question? So you see, during the class, I asked you to analyze some of the strength of MTN Ghana. And you appreciate that you were able to tell me things positively that put them above their competitors. So I can send you right now to go to GCB Bank and do a SWOT analysis of GCB Bank. And what you have to do is to identify the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And I'm sure some of the weaknesses you will find will be that some of the tellers are not friendly, or they don't attend to customers well. And that will be a weakness of GCB Bank, right? Network failures, could be a weakness of GCB Bank. One of the weakness strengths could be that they have branches all over, so they are more accessible than other banks. Okay. Okay. So, dear professors, let's meet in the last session. Go to the page. You have the last session details there. We would read a case and solve it together. I don't want you to miss that. So please, just get the details, log in, and let's move on. See you in the last session.